Today, we will be looking at Lesson 2-3, Simplifying Algebraic Expressions. Let's first start with a few key vocabulary words. Term is a number or the product of a number and a variable. Constant is a term that has no variable. Like terms are terms with identical variables or the same variable. And coefficient is a number that multiplies a variable or the number that is in front of a variable. Pause the movie now to copy down these vocabulary words into your notes. Now that you have these words copied down into your notes, let's identify them in our expression up here. First, let's identify the terms in our expression. Remember, we did this when we were learning about subtracting integers. Each term is a chunk of numbers combined by multiplication or division and separated by the minus signs and plus signs. Our first term in our expression is 7a. Our second term is negative 4a. Remember, when we have a term that is being subtracted, that minus sign is another way of saying that it is negative. Our third term is positive 3b, and our fourth term is negative 6. Now, let's identify the constants in our expression. Remember, a constant is a term that has no variable, and we only have one of those in our expression. Our constant is negative 6. Now, let's look for like terms in our expression. Like terms are terms that have the same variable. In our expression, we have 7a and negative 4a. Both of these terms have a as their variable, so they are like terms. Last, let's look for our coefficients. A coefficient is the number that is in front of a variable. Since our expression has 3 terms with variables, we should have 3 coefficients. The coefficient in our first term is 7. The coefficient in our second term, negative 4a, is negative 4. And the coefficient in our third term is 3. Let's take a look at an example problem. 3m minus 2n plus n minus 4. In our expression, we want to identify the constants, the like terms, and the coefficients. Let's start with the constants. In our expression, we only have one constant, the last term, negative 4. So we can write as our constants negative 4. Now let's look for our like terms. Our expression has a term negative 2n and another term positive n. These terms both have the same variable, so they are like terms. Our like terms are negative 2n and n. Now let's look for our coefficients. Our expression has 3 terms with variables, so it will have 3 coefficients. Our first term, 3m, the coefficient is 3. In our second term, negative 2n, the coefficient is negative 2. And in our third term, positive n, there is no coefficient labeled here, but 1 times n is n, so our coefficient is just 1. Our 3 coefficients in our expression are 3, negative 2, and 1. Pause the movie now so you can copy down this example problem into your notes. Here is another practice problem. Pause the movie to try this problem on your own. Then press play to check your answer. In our expression 6 plus 2s plus 4s, we have one constant. That would be our positive 6. Then we look for our like terms. We have a 2s and a 4s. Since both of these terms have s as the variable, they are like terms. Last, we look for our coefficients. We have two terms with variables, so we have two coefficients. Our first coefficient is positive 2, and our second coefficient is positive 4. After we identify our like terms in an expression, we can combine them to simplify the expression. This is called combining like terms. Let's take a look at the expression 3a plus 8 minus 2a minus 5 plus 4a. Let's start by identifying our like terms. We can look for terms that have the same variable in our expression. 3a, negative 2a, and 4a all have a as their variable. Since they have the same variable, they are like terms. Now, let's identify our constants. Positive 8 and negative 5 are our constants. Now, let's combine our like terms. If I have 3 a's and 2 negative a's, and then 4 positive a's, let's see how many a's I have. 3 a's minus 2 a's will give me just 1 a. A plus 4 a's leaves me with 5 a's. Now I can combine my constants. I have 8 positives, and 5 negatives. I can cancel my positives and my negatives, and I am left with 3 positives. 8 minus 5 is 3. I am then left with 5a and positive 3. My expression is 5a plus 3. I can't combine it any further because 5a and positive 3 are not like terms. This is like saying I have 5 apples and $3. I can't combine them and say I have 8 apple dollars because there's no such thing. So my final answer is going to be 5a plus 3. Pause the video now to copy down this example problem into your notes. Let's take a look at another example problem. 3x plus 4y plus 5 minus x plus 2y minus 8. Let's start by identifying our like terms. Let's look for all of the x's in our expression. 3x and negative x both have x as the variable, so they are like terms. Now let's look for all of the y's in our expression. 4y and 2y are like terms because they both have y's as their variable. Now we can look for our constants. Positive 5 and negative 8 are our constants. Let's start by combining our x terms. We have 3 x's and a negative x. This leaves us with 2x. Now, let's combine our y terms. We have 4y and 2y. Together, we have a total of positive 6y. Last, we can combine our constants. We have 5 positives and 8 negatives. Our positives and our negatives will cancel, and we'll be left with 3 negatives, or negative 3. Now, we can write these as a simplified expression of 2x plus 6y minus 3. This will be our final answer. We can't combine the terms any further because x's and y's are not like terms. Pause the video now to copy this example problem down into your notes. Now let's try some practice problems. Pause the movie to simplify the 4 problems in your notes. When you are finished, raise your hand so your teacher can check your answers.